Hey everybody, it's me, Undead Viking. I'm here with another video review for you. The game that I'm reviewing today is called Chronosphere, and as you can guess with the name with Chrono in there, it is kind of a time machine based game. Now, it's kind of loosely based, I guess, on that. I mean, the idea is that each person is trying to fix time, if you will. Basically, like the time-space continuum has shattered or what have you. And each person is trying to reconstruct time and place certain things, events, and people into their correct slots as far as time is considered. And it's kind of unique in the fact that, like, the board, there's no real board since it's a card game, but what you'll be doing is you'll be taking these little tiny cards, and you have a display in front of you of a certain number of cards, and your goal is to get rid of all of your cards. If you can do that and do that successfully, then you'll win the game. Each person will help construct the Chronosphere that is in the center of the table. And you have to think of the Chronosphere as being kind of like the hands of a clock. You start at 1 and you go all the way around. And I'm kind of doing that weirdly backwards. No, wait a minute. Well, regardless. I can't tell. Well, for me, it's correct. But for you, it's probably backwards. So not counterclockwise. Clockwise for me. But anyway. So like this would be like a clock. And so you'll be placing these cards down. And you'll be trying to put them in chronological order. And if you don't put a card down in chronological order, it doesn't mean necessarily that you lose, but somebody else can call you out on it, and if they're correct, then they can force you to draw new cards. And because the first person that can get rid of all their cards is the winner. Well, there's another way you can win too, but I'll explain that in just a second. The first person to get rid of all their cards, if you can do that in successful fashion, then you win. And so that's kind of like the crux of the problem, is that you have this rack of cards in front of you, and all you see is, like, say, the picture. See, like, you have mobile phone right there, and you think, okay, well, I don't know when mobile phones were invented. And so if you look at the back, normally you can't see the back, it says 1947 AD. And so you have to kind of have your wits about you and trying to figure out when certain things existed, and you got to try to guess where they would go. So here we have, like, say, like ice cream. When do you think ice cream was invented? Now, this kind of stumped me, but one of the things about it was, like, I was thinking, okay, ice cream, that'd be, I don't know. I mean, ice cream is, like, seems fairly recent, right? No, it actually is listed as 400 BC. So you have things like that you have to kind of wrap your mind around, and you have to kind of guess, like, the first instance in time, and those things were created. Now, some of them are actually either, fairly easy, because, like, the death of Socrates. You can remember that was, like, ancient Greece, and so, of course, that's certain BC and things like that. But a lot of it is really surprising, and I've kind of actually enjoyed playing the game for the educational aspect of it as well. But I'm kind of really getting ahead to my conclusion here, and I'm going to kind of take a step back. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to play a game of Chronosphere. It's for 3 to 8 people, and it's a relatively quick game. You can probably get one done in about 15-20 minutes if everybody knows what they're doing and knows how to play the game. And I'm going to show you how to play. It shouldn't take a long time. And then what we'll do is we'll come back here, and then I'll tell you exactly what I think of Chronosphere. All right. There we go. Alright, this is Chronosphere in a nutshell. This is the box you get, and this is the stack of these little tiny cards that you get. I've never been a big fan of the little cards, but for a game like this, you have the little cards basically because of the fact that you're going to be, like I said, building that Chronosphere as you play, and like having a bunch of big cards, whatever, would take up space. And plus, if they just, you wouldn't get all those little cards in like a box this small. You have to like kind of shorten them down and what have you. But regardless, and as always, since this is a prototype that I have, please keep in mind that the final result, or the final game, might not look exactly like this. So, pretty simply, you have this big giant stack of cards. You do not show, like, here, I'll just grab the one on the bottom. Like here, like as I said, here's ice cream, and there's 400 BC. You do not ever get to look at the back until the game basically tells you to. You only look at the back when you're checking out a challenge or checking to see if you've won. So, you deal these cards out to everybody. The first player will get 8 because they're the first player and they get to act first. They get to get rid of a card first. And the second placer also gets 8 because it's easy to get rid of a card right away when you have 8. Everybody else other than that gets 7. So let's just go ahead and like So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's just like pretend we're the first player. So now you have to pretend that you kind of have a clock like in front of you in the middle of the board, if you will. And so let me just get these out here. So let's see, we have Mona Lisa, corset, Buddhism founded, cranes, bricks, clothing, Roman Empire founded, and counting. Okay, so it doesn't seem like it's that crazy of options or whatever, but what your goal is on your turn you have 3 possible actions. Your 3 actions are playing a card, which you just take a card that you want and you're going to play it, and I'll explain these actions here in just a moment. You play a card. You can discard one of your cards from your display, and then you draw 2 more out of the deck. Now that doesn't seem, because this game is about getting rid of your cards, it doesn't seem like it would be a very wise decision. But there will be many times in the game where you're not going to be able to play a card without putting yourself in danger of being challenged. And so sometimes you have to give up a card to get 2. It's just one of those things you have to do to avoid being challenged and being forced to draw more cards. Or your third option is you can challenge somebody else's decision. So now the way this works is you're just going to have to imagine there's like a circle, and you're replacing the cards, as I said, kind of like on a clock, where you start with a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So the 7 through 12 will be the AD portion of the Chronosphere, and the 1 through 6 will be on the BC portion of the Chronosphere. Now, the trick when you're playing a card is that you have to place it on the 1 or the 12. The whole time you have to place it on the 1 or the 12. So, if I said, well, I'm going to guess like something, let's see, that's like a BC type thing. So you'd go, okay, I'm going to say Buddhism founded. I'm guessing that happened in the BC era. You do that. And so like the next person, like, maybe they'd, like, I'm just going to give them like their steam engine. So they're going to have steam engine. Okay, I'm pretty sure that's AD, so we're going to go over there with the AD. Now, the next person that goes has to play a card to either the left of the BC card or to the right of the steam engine. And then you just move these down like so. You can't kind of place them chronologically. Now the trick is that you have to come up with something that happened either after, before Buddhism being founded, sorry, or after the steam engine, because you're going to be like pushing these like so. And so you might have a situation where like, I don't have anything that happened before Buddhism was founded. Well, so it's like you're thinking, well, maybe I'll have to look at something AD. So what's something that happened after the steam engine came out? Well, maybe cranes. So we'll take our cranes and we'll just push that like so, and we do it like that. Now, so that's how you play the cards. So like, let's say maybe like here's oars. Oars is like kind of straightforward. Well, maybe oars are pretty common. I mean, some of you probably figured out they could put a stick in the water and propel their bundle of sticks down the river easy. So you have that, and as you're building it out, that's what you'll do. Now, as I said, if you want to discard a card, you discard one, and then you draw 2 more. So like, let's say we don't know when corset happened. Let's just check. So corsets were made 1800 BC. Oh, that might have been a great one for over here, but I didn't know that. So we'll draw 2 more, and we get the machine gun and the Great Fire of London. I actually know the Great Fire of London happened in 1666 AD because I own the game Great Fire of London. So that might be something I'll hold on to because I actually know the date for that. But so that is like how you discard and draw 2. Pretty straightforward as far as that goes. Now, challenging is a little bit tricky. When you challenge, you're challenging not the person so much as you're challenging the side. You're going to challenge either AD or BC. And the last person to add a card to that is technically the person that was challenged. So if you just say, okay, I'm going to say like AD is wrong. Let's say that. And so you choose that side, whoever that person is. You flip over each card and you determine if it's the correct era, either BC or AD, and then the cards in chronological order, earliest to latest. If they happen to have the same date, that's fine. You don't have to worry about that at all. So if any of the cards turn out to be invalid, then the person that person is the loser. When the person loses the challenge, that person loses. they have to suffer the penalties. If they turn out to be correct, then the person that challenged is the one that loses. So let's just see. So we have steam engine was 1765 AD, and cranes were 515 BC. So if you challenge that one, you'd be correct, because cranes were created way before. And if I thought about that for more than 3 seconds, I would have actually probably figured that out. Now the funny thing is that look, the pictures fool you all the time. It's like, oh, cranes. See, that's a pretty new modern crane, but you got to kind of think beyond the picture that you see in front of you. And so the person then that actually put the crane's card down will be the one that failed. And so they are the ones that lose the challenge. So if there were, you draw, then you're forced to draw new cards. And so if there are 2 cards, 1 through 4 cards, you draw 2 cards off the deck. If there are, you draw 3 cards if there were 5 cards, and you draw 4 cards if it was full, with the full 6 cards. And then you get rid of the cards that were there, and you put them away, like so. Now, I already explained that if you can manage to, like, get, like, I'm just going to, these probably won't be in order, so I'll just grab cranes here, because I know that was BC, and wasn't Corset BC, or let's just, I mean, just bear with me here, and I'm sure bricks, no, counting, I'm sure, was pretty early on, and let's go bricks, or whatever. So, if you ever play the 6th card on this, and like so, and, or I shouldn't say, not the 6th card so much, but let's say like you played counting last, right? And then, so this is your card that you play. If this is your last card, and you put it down like so, you say, okay, that's 8,000 BC, and whatever side you're on, now you have to reveal each card in order. And if they turn out to all be correct after you've placed your last card, which this isn't because a couple of them are out of place, but if all these were correct, then the person that played that last card in that section, and sometimes it'll only be 3 cards, it doesn't have to be all 6, but the person who played their last card and it was correct, like they follow the chronological order, they would win the game. The other way you can win the game is, even if you have a bunch of cards left over, if you play cards, and I'm just going to throw these down here just so you can see them, if you manage to play the cards that actually finish, you play the last card that finishes off the Chronosphere correctly, all 12 cards are on there, right? At that moment, the person who played the last card gets one last chance to start moving stuff around. They get to take the cards, they get to shuffle them, they can say, no, this one doesn't here, Mona Lisa doesn't go there, it goes there, you know, Buddhism Fund, that's got to be earlier than cranes, and so they can move stuff around, and then after they've decided what they think is correct for the Chronosphere, you then reveal, in chronological order, the entire way around, and if they manage to do that correctly, they win the game as well. Now, there is a possible chance that you will run out of this deck of cards. It hasn't happened to us yet, but it came close when we had an 8-player game. But if you ever run out of the cards, then the game is immediately over, and you then, like, whoever has the least cards left in their display wins the game at that time. So there you go. I mean, that's pretty much how you play Chronosphere. I mean, it has a lot going on other than actually the actions. I mean, like I said, on your turn, you only have 3 options that you can do. So, but there's a lot more going on because you got to outthink your opponents. You got to, like, you know, pick the correct time to challenge, and also, I mean, you just kind of, like, you have to have, you know, the guts, I guess, to put a card down and hope nobody else has the guts to call you out on the challenge because they don't want to have to draw new cards, and you'll get past a certain point where you know you probably made a bad move, but nobody called you out on it, and so then you get to skip that because somebody then placed another card on that side, and then you're safe at that point, which is which is a really cool aspect of the game, kind of a bluffing I dare ya section of the game as well. So there you go. Well, let me tell you more of what I think about Chronosphere in my conclusion. So, before I even step into, like, kind of the whole strategy and everything about that, I'm just going to tell you a quick little story. I know I haven't done a lot of stories lately, so just bear with me. For the longest time, I just didn't really game at, like, a gaming store. Just recently, in the last year or so, I've had kind of a renaissance of playing at my local gaming store during their tabletop evenings, which is pretty awesome. The owner of the place, his name is Rich. If you watch my video about blind gamers, you probably saw that. Rich is an awesome guy, and he runs the Paradox Comics and Cards in Fargo, North Dakota. and he has these great open gaming nights, and I started going to that basically to teach people board games and to kind of show different board games to people, and I have kind of regular event that I do there, and I've been having a lot of fun doing that. And so what has happened is that I've kind of taken my gaming that I normally do at my house, and I have sort of transplanted it, and I've moved it to a larger gaming area. It doesn't to say that I don't play at my house, but I have done a lot more board gaming with strangers, basically. And one of the neat things I've discovered is that having several games of several different time lengths is a very much a key, to being able to kind of introduce people to board games. And I love games that are short and that are fun, and you immediately start having the fun right away. I mean, I can understand, I like games that kind of develop and build over time, and I don't mind that at all. But, I mean, if I'm going to be playing a game that's a filler, that's going to be something that I can just, show somebody how to play and we can play it immediately, I like it to be fast, quick, and ready to go. And this is definitely one of those games. It also, I found, is a perfect game, and I just had this happen, where I was having a mess of people over at my house, and we had 6 people sitting at my house, which normally we'd start playing, maybe we could play something big, but I knew there was 2 more people coming over, not 4, 2. And so we had 2 more people coming over, and so it was one of those things where it's like, we were going to have, literally going to have a game of Game of Thrones, and then we were going to have a game of Russian Railroads. And it was just, we had that perfect, we were waiting for these 2 people to show up so we could start playing. And so it was going to be 15, 20 minutes, and this is one of those games that's perfect for that. It handles a large number of people, it handles up to 8, and it handles, that perfect little 15, 20-minute time length that I was looking for, because somebody said, oh, I got to pick up some food, or I got to do that, and so on. It's like, hey, we got to wait for Mike and Mary to get here, so let's just play this, and bam, we set it up, we played it, we had a ton of fun. When our friends showed up, we scooped the game up, put it back in the box, and then we broke up and we played our 2 big games, and that worked perfectly. And I like games like that. I always talk about games that are good wind-ups to the evening of gaming, and also games that are good wind-downs to the evening. And this is definitely one of those. Now, actual gameplay, what I love about it, I love the aspect of the fact that you can kind of just completely bone somebody by looking at what they have in their display, and you realize what kind of cards they can play. If mind you, you have a really good mind for your history, because of the fact that you kind of have to force them to play a card, so you can look over there and you can say, okay, I see you have Attila the Hun, and I see you have the Roman Empire founded, and I have say conversion of Constantine or something, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm pretty sure I can play this on the BC side or whatever, and that's going to force you, you can't play one of your cards then. Or they might try to bluff that card and put it out there and hopefully nobody challenges them and things like that. And I love that aspect of the game. I love the fact that it's all open knowledge, and not only do you have to worry about the cards in front of you that are the display, but you also have to worry about what everybody else is doing at the same time. This isn't a game that you can just kind of do your turn and turn on and not pay attention, because you have to be watching what other people are doing and what the cards are being put down. And because of the fact that your challenge only works because it works for one of the sides, BC or AD, it only works, you have to be on your toes and wait for somebody to actually, the person to put that down, and then you have to, make sure that somebody challenges them immediately and doesn't place another card down on BC, because then you can't challenge them. You can't get those cards back in their hand. And I love that kind of seesaw, wait, bluffing, counter-bluff situation. And I do love that agonizing decision where I can't decide if what they just put down is incorrect, if it doesn't work, what they have, if they made a bad move or not. And there's really nothing more satisfying than actually, slamming somebody and saying, you screwed up, I'm challenging your BC, and then, you find out that you failed. And also, on the other side, there's nothing more satisfying, seriously, when somebody challenges you and they turn out to be wrong. And you're like, oh yeah, I'm perfect, you grab a bunch of cards, and so I love that entire aspect of that interaction, that interactivity, and and lastly, before I, anything else, other than the fact that the game is just challenging, and the game is highly, just, fun. It's kind of fun to, watch the thing be built up, and the fact that everybody uses the same thing. I really do like the fact that I learned a lot while playing the game, strangely enough. Certain, just little factoids of trivia and what have you. I mean, things like cell phones being invented in 1947. I mean, it's like, really? There were cell phones or mobile phones then? You know, it's like, oh, I mean, theoretically, yes. You know, I guess maybe on a really limited range, but you don't really think about stuff like that. You know, you don't think of ice cream being invented in 400 BC and somebody, like, you know, enjoying a nice vanilla cone or something. I mean, obviously it wasn't a vanilla cone, but you get what I mean. It's just, I like that fun little aspect that I actually felt like I was learning something as I was playing the game. So, I mean, for all those reasons, I really highly recommend it. If you dig, you know, just kind of history in general, and you dig like little if you like useless trivia, I really highly recommend this game. It's a lot of fun. Like I said, it handles a lot of people, and it doesn't overstay its welcome. The game is over, it's quick, and it's done. You can definitely play it like 3 or 4 times if you actually enjoyed yourself. And you can just, you know, and we've done that before. We've played it, somebody got lucky and they won. Okay, reshuffle, let's do this again. So, there you go. I mean, I go ahead and check out the Kickstarter page for Chronosphere, and you can check up on more about the game itself. And I'm sure if you have any questions about the game, I'll be happy to answer those as best as I can. And also, Isaac, the designer, most likely, I'm guessing, will be happy to answer those as well. So, as always, this is Chronosphere. Thank you, as always, thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video. I greatly appreciate it. And until next time, you have yourself one heck of an awesome day. Alright, bye-bye now.